I'm Phil with Alpha Bowhunting, and this is our new show, To the Point.
Welcome to another episode of To the Point here. We're again at No Limits Archery, and alongside me is Beau, one of the regular co-hosts, Nathan, and Miss Lady Caitlin, Lady Alpha herself, two-time defending Alpha champion.
Yeah.
So, and actually, you know, all three of you guys up here are podium finishers this year for the finals. So, I want to just get into a little bit on this segment. Hey, before we start, let me back up. Sorry, we are fueled by Albanese gummy bears. By the way, once again, if you do want to get your questions answered on the show, it's not going to hurt that you mail us a bag or 6 of those gummy bears because it's probably going to help it out. So, as they are money.
Oh, they're sour.
Those ones are.
great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's not very many in there, so you better let us
Yeah,
know.
it's an empty bag.
There's a couple in there, I think. But I want to touch a little bit about this year's finals, right? We had a great turnout. We had people come from all over the place.
Yep.
And what was your guys' take on actually kind of incorporating more of the head-to-head rounds into the final kind of overall mix of the game? But Beau, we'll start with you.
Well, for me personally, I mean, a lot of the guys come out to play the game for the head-to-head heats. I mean, that's what they want to do. I mean, granted, the 3D portion's awesome. I like to shoot, so I enjoy that, and 3D is kind of my game. But most guys coming out, man, they want to do that head-to-head. It is, exactly. They want to do the head-to-head rounds. And by adding an extra, at least an extra head-to-head, we did 2 for the qualifying round, or for qualifying time. It just let people play the game, in the part of the game that they really, really wanted to play.
I agree with you. I mean, full circle. I mean, being out there for the last couple of years, just talking to all the competitors and everybody being around and spectators and all of that, everybody enjoyed the head-to-head. So, being that we incorporated extra rounds
More
of
of
that, and incorporated that into the scores, people were there doing what they were doing, and again, that was the highlight of Alpha, is the head-to-head events, and I believe the feedback that I got from everybody was just incredible.
I agree. I think that's kind of the basis of its appeal in
Sure.
a way. I think a lot of the people that we get to come to these events come for the head-to-head, so it was nice that they don't show up, shoot a 3D round, and then do one head-to-head and lose and have to go home
One and
on
done.
Yeah.
day one.
Especially if they're traveling.
Coming from out of state.
A couple guys from Texas.
And
Wisconsin.
we obviously are very strong here in Colorado with the majority of our events being held here up to this point. That will change some moving forward, but that was something that I directly looked at last year because we did have some people travel in from Idaho and New York and North Carolina and Wisconsin. So it was one of those things. Well, the year before that,
the year
actually.
before,
yeah. And I realized it's like they put their time, their vacation, their travel expenses into coming to a different event, which was the finals, which I encourage anybody, if you're going to come to one event, come to our finals, right?
That's where the party's at, for
It's
sure.
a big party. But it's always a party in the ladies groups because
That's true.
I tell you, I go over there to take some pictures sometimes or take some
delete
video,
most of them.
and I just do it. I just focus on finding the ladies group because they're the ones always laughing and hooting and hollering and playing the biggest amount of grab tail, if you will, right? In a good way. But yeah, I definitely saw that we needed to incorporate more of that. So I was glad to see that people enjoyed it. But you guys actually competing in it.
Yep.
I just wanted to get your take. But Caitlin, I want to ask you a couple more questions because this is something that you're a great shooter, not just in the Alpha game. I mean, you competed and trained out last year, right? Mm-hmm. But even you're getting more into the indoor, the 3D scene and that thing because overall you've just been able to excel at something. But if I was to ask you, what do you think your 1 or 2 biggest reasons, and it's not that you're not tooting your horn, I'm tooting your horn for you, okay? But what would you think the biggest 1 or 2 qualities or aspects that you've been able to implement or what you've learned or what you've done that have helped you to excel in this discipline of archery?
Well, I think I've always been a natural athlete, so I think that helps to a point.
Competitive?
But I think my competitive nature has kind of like taken me above and beyond a little bit. I know that I take the Alpha competitions more seriously than anybody else out there. Ask Nate after I found out I couldn't compete the first Alpha
I remember
this year. I
it
was
was
like in
crazy.
tears in the kitchen. I was like, I think my dog just died.
But I think
I'm
you.
like,
No, she missed 2 of them, both because of weddings.
Yeah.
yeah, people
Talk
need to stop
about
getting
limit.
married. Yeah, yeah. But even after that, you know, we would be driving to the archery shop, and they'd be like, "Are you ready? We got Alpha in 3 weeks." And I'd say, "Don't talk to me about the Alpha challenges. I get anxiety. I don't eat.
But
I get."
you know, your competitive nature is what drives you to shoot your bow, to you know.
True. I also, you know, with the competitive nature, I didn't want to be the person who showed up at Alpha this year and somebody say, "Ah, she won last year," and then started slacking, and now,
Yeah.
you know, she didn't keep up.
It's watching you on the course. Once you get going, it's like, you know, you're on the sidelines playing grab ass and having fun, and you know, once that buzzer goes off, it's like you're
Totally
in a
different
zone.
person.
You don't let any outside factors. You've already got a game plan. What you're
And-
doing. It's
I can attest to that being her spotter for most of those
Yeah.
rounds.
Well,
I've
it's
gotten a little
different.
snippy with you a few times.
Once
though.
or twice.
And that's good because I personally feel that we all work day jobs, right? And
Yeah.
some of us multiple jobs. So these events they're not paying anybody's bills, right?
No.
But to keep it in perspective, if you want to excel and you want to do really well, you got to be borderline obsessive
yeah.
about certain things to achieve high things.
And it doesn't have to be obsessive about everything that it takes to become an alpha, but
But that switch, you need to learn how and when to be able to turn that switch on and off. Because yes, to have fun with the competitors and the competitive nature, and even the new shooters, like the ladies that have come along that that haven't done this a lot, or they're intimidated, right? They're,
Right.
I don't know, you know, I see my husband do it, I want to try, it looks fun. The ladies group from the outside seems to be very welcoming and have helped along the way with a lot of the new shooters coming up. So I'm thankful for that, because I'm not nervous when we've got new lady shooters come up for me to say, you're going to be fine. You know,
Right.
this is something that this group is very welcoming as a whole. When it's time to compete, it's game on,
It's game time.
right?
Yep.
But at the same time, you know, and some people get a little bit upset after the heat, or they should have done, they think they should have done better. You blow it off, and then it's like, you know what? It's back to having a good time and keeping it in perspective. So I'm glad to see that type of atmosphere is taking a world of its own without anybody having to almost vocalize it and say, hey,
Right.
we need to be this way. No, this just kind of naturally happened that way.
yeah.
Yeah, and we've talked about that a few times on the ladies' side anyway. It's really difficult to find a group of women that you can especially compete against and not have clicks and the cattiness and the, you know, I hope she trips and falls kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think you made a reference to Lindsay and I this past year about, hey, you guys must be making a lot of jabs at each other behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff. And Lindsay and I have talked about this, and we've said we're surprisingly supportive of each other. As much as we give each other crap, I mean,
But
Until you compete against
think-
each other.
Yeah,
it's
when,
like,
when you two compete,
But even
it's
then, I mean,
game time.
even like right after the competition, like, you know,
Yeah.
she's about to throw up. I'm helping take her off, taking her pack off.
I think that my question may have been, I see how you guys are behind the scenes, right? And I think it was more so because I know you guys are very playful,
Yeah,
that I figured there was some playful joking around, not from a serious nature,
Yeah.
because I see you two as being probably two of the tighter two that hang out together to compete, and you two are the best two that have shown year in, year out, right?
most consistent. I wouldn't say
Exactly.
best, but most consistent.
Well, no, but at the same time, they're two of the top finishers. They're the first and second place finisher at this year's finals, last year's finals.
Yeah.
Not to say that the other women aren't. You know, Dana came on strong this year, first time competitor. Shanley did really well
Leaps
this
and
year.
yeah.
bounds from
Shanley's
last
Right?
done amazing.
You know, season coming in, she fit right in the mix with the competitive nature. I'm not taking anything away from the competitiveness of each other or the capabilities. I'm just saying you two as being 1 and 2 each of the last 2 years. I don't want to say you're the best. I'm not speaking for you, but it just seems like you two have a great chemistry and relationship that lends itself well to that. And it's fun to see. I mean, you know, you supporting your Wisconsin brethren and spotting, and you know,
Right.
Nate was helping some of the Texas guys out, right?
Yeah.
It was great to see, and I'm happy and humbled to see that it's competitive. I love competitiveness. I'm one of those guys that I'm sitting there chomping at the bit because you guys all know the years past I've been one of the most
fixated on competitiveness, try to get things done.
Yeah.
And to take a step back and watch people compete has been very humbling to me because I just enjoy seeing it. I don't have to be the one that's always bull-nosed, head, strong into it, because it's just as fun and rewarding to see how you guys are competing and seeing that it's in perspective. Everybody's keeping it in perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
And for me personally, competing, whether I'm competing or not competing, being one of the guys here, at the shop, working on bows, stuff like that, whether I'm competing or not, a lot of the guys that are competing are guys I personally know, and I've worked on a lot of their equipment.
Right.
And I think that kind of gives me like the best end of the deal, because whether this year I lost Justice and I, okay? The little joke was on the live feed, Yoda versus, type things. I don't want to say, I'm not taking any credit for how good Justice shot, but he was one of the competitors that I did try to take under my wing a little bit and try to help him out, whether it be his bow setup or a form deal, shot execution deal, and he used all that knowledge or little bits and pieces of knowledge that I had given him over the months' times that really helped him excel in that. And yeah, granted, he kicked my butt.
Well,
I'm not gonna.
But he's
at the
a
end,
good shooter, though.
he's
too.
a great
He's
shooter.
a good shooter, and he's young. And
he's got a lot of potential for sure.
I mean,
in
some of us
this
older
game.
guys, we get in our own way.
Well, that's the
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
He hasn't had to
I'm
pay taxes
prime
yet,
example.
so he hasn't figured out pressure yet.
He does the papers on health insurance. He can go all out.
The biggest thing I guess I'm getting to in that regard is whether I win or lose the actual heat, a little bit of me has won, because
you
I've
got a part in other people's
got it
setups.
exactly. And I can definitely. I mean, it's not that I can only count on one hand. I could probably count on all your hands. How many times I may have lost to somebody that I've helped, and
Sure.
at that point, I'm okay with that.
No, that's good, man. I'm happy. I mean,
That's the best part about it for me, because
You
I'm still
rebuilt.
winning. I'm still winning.
you're gonna have to start
You should
having
get a
people.
cut of those payouts.
You're gonna have to start people signing little waivers that say, "Hey, if you win, I get 10% of your
commission,
winnings."
right?
Yeah, you
So-
rebuilt James' bow like
I
10
did,
minutes
and she
before,
won that.
And she
won that event.
Yeah.
Like 5 minutes before her heat was supposed to start was a complete rebuild, and she was the one behind the bow, and she was the one shooting. I was just really happy I was there to be able to help her in her dire
absolutely.
need of a rebuild.
Coming from her perspective and talking to her after all that happened, she was just totally ecstatic that you were able to get that bow back together that fast, and she was able to walk out on that range, take a half a dozen shots, fine-tune that adjustment real quick, and she was able to go play again. And she was confident in it because of you. So, kudos to you.
She
because,
said a few times if that would have
you've
happened
got
anywhere
that
else, she wouldn't have let
respect
anybody touch her bow.
Right.
Oh, I've seen it on train to hunt events before, to where somebody accidentally dry fires a bow. I've helped put a couple bows back together. Now, granted, didn't have the time to spend in the shop like we do here to dial that bow, but stuff happens.
Yep.
And glad that some of those things that have happened here, because we were able to fix it. But no, there's so much good that's come about, and like I said, keeping it in perspective and getting you guys' take on it, because once I start throwing out those $5,000 payouts, I think you guys are going to be at each other a little.
Say what?
Yeah. We're working towards that. We need to get Coors.
Nathan, I can't work on your bow anymore.
Hey, I went out last year and did what I said at the beginning of the year, was to just get on that Alpha.
Get on the podium.
Alpha podium,
Yeah.
and
It was close, man.
I was pissed that I, got in my own way at the very last run, but I did what I was set out to do, and if the payouts go up, I've already told you it's like I'm a worker bee this year. So.
Yeah. No, man, it was good to see everything lay out the way it did. But one last thing before we close out this one, you started alluding to the group of women and being able to shoot together and lean on each other and be dependent, and you've actually taken the lead on Ladies' Night here at No Limits, right? And that's starting to take shape to be pretty cool. I mean, it's off season right now, obviously. It's almost hangover time, what we call it in October, because there's a lot of people that put their equipment away, take a break, which is great. Yeah. But as we start getting into the target season, why don't you throw a few words out there for kind of, what we're doing, when we do the Ladies' Night, what you can expect, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so Ladies' Night is the third Monday of every month, and here at No Limits. every month it's completely different. So usually we'll spend part of the night talking about some kind of topic, whether it be broadhead tuning or hunting scenarios or gear. This past ladies' night we did the dart system, yeah, which was really fun. So we spend some time learning about something new, and then we spend time just shooting and hanging out with each other and getting to know women in the industry and women, women in the sport.
And it's something that we've tried different combinations and formulas of trying to get ladies engaged with the group, and it's not from a perspective that we want to treat the ladies any differently, but at the same token, it's getting to the point with some of the ladies that have evolved in this group, like Caitlin, that are equivalent or better in many cases than a lot of the guys out there in respects to the discipline, because the time and the attention to detail you put in. So it's something that we treat women as equals everywhere we can, right? When we're talking about gear, we're not saying, oh, you need to buy this lesser model, because no, you want to look at boots. We have high-end boots that, especially this coming year, I'm excited because we're starting to add more items on that premium line for the women, right? We added some Sitka this year. Some of the women's line started getting into that. We've got more boots coming next year, and even the components on bows and stuff. It's,
Yeah. The great thing about that is there's a lot of companies now across the board in the industry, whether it comes clothing, boots, bows, stuff like that, that they're not just taking what would be a male's bow and slapping pink on it.
Sure.
They're actually building it, specifically, that platform for the ladies, which I really like, because it allows me to say if Caitlin came in to pick up boots, jacket, shirt, bow, it gives me something, that it's not like
It's tailored towards the women.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I need. That's what I needed for sure.
Yeah, because like I said, it's something that I've seen for a long time, and Caitlin's proof of it. It's just there's so many things that everybody that can achieve, whether it's women, men, kids, whatever, right? Old. It's just a matter of getting the right equipment set up, the right training, the right practice routine, the right support system, and having a kind of an extended family in a place like this. That I don't spend as much time in here as I'd like to. I've got another business and then kids and that kind of stuff, but I kind of catch the tail end sometimes of the ladies' night or a different league and or the beginning end of it, and it's man, I wish I can be more a part of that stuff, and hopefully as my boys get older we start getting more into the mix with some of the leagues and that kind of thing again. But excited to have you as part of the family, right? And Nate's always knows he's been welcome here for a long time, but moving forward we've got some exciting things moving along with the gear, with the events, and Mikkel, Mikkel's another one that's been here for a long time with us helping out, and she's one of the biggest cheerleaders for the more ladies to come shoot, So there's women here that are very credible, very accomplished, very well spoken, and certified. Yeah, so excited to have you guys here, but I just wanted to touch a little bit on some of the Alpha stuff, and I don't have a whole bunch much to talk on this topic other than I appreciate you guys and thanks for the support, because not only are you a competitor, you do help with other stuff around the shop too, right? Like I said, Lady Night's one of it. On the coaching side, you guys are also certified level 2 archery coaches with USA Archery, so it's something that there's a lot of well-rounded, knowledgeable people that we've started to partner with and to help kind of strengthen our team. So I'm going to stop patting ourselves on the back, hit the buzzer to the point I'm rambling, and we're going to go ahead and catch you guys on another episode.